What's up, everybody? We're starting today's episode with a big upgrade to second-year corner Malcolm Moten as we kick off what is the 16th season of the Browns rebuild. It's, of course, one more season for us to try and get Anton Greenberry one more Super Bowl ring. He won 2, but that was now a few years ago, and we know he could be retiring any season. I'm really excited about the team this year because we have so much youth now that could carry us into the future with Henry Hunt, and then going to the defensive side where we took a couple players who were only 21. I really want to see what players such as Gordon Barr could turn into, or you also have the 21-year-old safety, if I can get there, Santez Hartman. I feel like this was a good offseason for us to lay a future foundation. Don't forget we also went and drafted a quarterback very early, and we're going to be releasing or trading Brock Wall. We're still going to get some early impact as well from wide receiver Henry Hunt, who joins us at 22 years old. I feel really good about this team right now. I think that we've set ourselves up to be better both this season and especially in the future. So I think it's time to see if that truly is how it's going to play out. I just noticed something really interesting. Yes, you can see. I'm looking to see if I can maybe get a new kicker for Brock Wall. I found that there is not a single kicker over 82 overall currently in the league. I'm not sure why kickers don't develop well because it doesn't seem like it's too difficult. All you need to do is raise their awareness. But I think the best one is Blake Gutierrez. And he has 88 power, 90 accuracy, 76 awareness. So I guess upgrading over Derrick Haynes isn't going to happen. On the other hand, there are some highly rated punters. I'm not sure why they can become very good, but kickers aren't. Although it seems like even the punters have a hard time getting to a high overall. Maybe that was just an outlier then, because no one else is in the 90s. Not bad, got a 6th round pick here for Brock Wall, so we get a little extra for the future. And now let's see how the preseason went. Anton Greenberry gives us 4 touchdowns and 1 interception, while Lucas Enna, 1 pick, 2 interceptions. And Roland Iglesias got to play most of the final game, throwing 2 touchdowns and 1 pick, 5.3 yards per attempt. On the ground, Derek Gill, 237 yards. He is set to be our running back 2 at the moment, while Perry Cummings at 6.1 yards a carry continues to do what he does. He just gets big yardage and big touchdowns. Hopefully this year he carries the ball more. I hope our scheme change actually works. At receiver, big numbers here for Shadon Underwood, and Corey Stackhouse gets 2 touchdowns. That's 2 touchdowns also for Henry Hunt. Lawrence Glears, 31 tackles even at age 34. Speed is going down, but he's still a captain of this defense. DeLon Hall, 1.5 sacks. Same with Marshawn Essex. We'll see if we can get some more sacks this year. But there was a good theory or idea in the comment section I saw where the offensive linemen in this series probably have outpaced the development of the defensive ends, which means that it's hard for anybody to get sacks. And if you're facing good offensive lines every week, well, that would explain a lot about why we're not really seeing a lot of sack numbers. I'm just going through some rosters quickly, and it seems every team has at least 1 or 2 offensive linemen in the mid-80s or higher, which I guess seems pretty reasonable, but maybe the development over time has given them a significant advantage. We are on to a new season today, and I think this time I'm not going to sim through the playoffs if we make it. As Anton Greenberry's career continues to wind down, I think this time we might actually watch the playoff games and treat this more like some of the past seasons I've done. But we're still going to go through the full regular season today unless there's something major that would change my mind. But overall, I feel like this team is similar to last year, but we can probably get an edge with Henry Hunt, although the offense is so good it's hard to get better. If Perry Cummings gets the ball more than in the past, that could also launch us forward. And then it's really up to the youth along our defensive line. Are we going to get anything from Marvin Frazier, who's actually a 79 overall. It's just plain wrong that he's 76 right here. There's also Roy Nelson. There's Aaron Ruland. We have Gordon Barr. I'm not sure if any of those players can make an impact, but hopefully they can. And also we have Marvin Moten, and him elevating to an 82 overall with superstar development. I'm not sure he had superstar last year. Is that new? And don't worry, they mess this up every year for me, but we're still going to have Lawrence Glears starting at outside linebacker. And we open the season with the victory. Anton Greenberry has a monster performance. He's now 8th all-time in touchdowns. I just want to see what these two new injuries are all about. It is Jamario Mullins and Lawrence Glears. For Glears, it's a torn bicep. He's going to miss a lot of time. We're going to put him on IR and return him later on to open up a roster spot right now. But that's 2 starters down to the defense. We'll see if we can recover from that. Overall, week 1 was pretty good, 41-31. Greenberry throws 4 touchdowns in the first game of his 16th season. Perry Cummings, 144. So we got more yards. We see Gill here at 6 carries. I feel this is pretty good to give Perry 16 and Gill 6. I'm happy with that. As far as receiving, we have Cummings catching a touchdown because why not get him more production. Corey Stackhouse goes 75 to the house. Let's filter out the Steelers here. Rafael Carr, he gets a touchdown. So does Mike LaFell. So definitely an obscure touchdown day for the offense. Danton Armstrong, 16 tackles here as he enters a contract season. And Marshall Byrd, our first sack. Thankfully, it didn't take like 8 games this time. So with the need at linebacker, we're going to add a familiar face. Camdron Wake is back on the Cleveland Browns. He'll replace Glears. At corner, there isn't really much we can do, so we'll stick with who we have and hope that we can make up for Mullins while he is not playing. I know Moten can step up, but then someone has to take his spot. The Browns improved to 2-0 with a 28-19 victory and a really good performance by the defense. That's very good to see as Greenberry has another solid performance overall. We do get another sack. We have Bram Molk getting 2 touchdowns and a quiet day for the ground game, but Marvin King, Henry Hunt, and Rafael Carr all make some noise in the receiving department. That's exactly what we hope to see with Henry Hunt, the rookie, hopefully developing a lot this year. And who got the sack for us this time? It would be Marshall Byrd. And the interception to Forrest McLeod, who is one of the players now stepping up and playing more. Our defense struggles against the Ravens as we fall 44-38. Again, we put up plenty of production on offense, but now Brock Wall's replacement, Nathan Day, throws 3 touchdowns. Anton Greenberry does as well. And on the ground, we get 2 more touchdowns for Derek Gill somehow. Good day here for Sullivan, 92 yards and the touchdown. Marvin King for 116. Underwood scores twice. Hunt scores again. Add another injury to the list. Malcolm Moten. This defense wasn't a strength coming into the season, and this certainly isn't helping. Now we're extremely thin at cornerback. Despite that, we hold the Packers to 17 points and get our 3rd victory of the season. Greenberry only 94 yards as Lucas Enna actually plays a lot in this game. Greenberry must have gotten hurt, but it wasn't serious as he doesn't have the injury icon. Then for Perry Cummings, he does find the end zone this time, but so does Derek Gill. In the air, we have Underwood for 72. 2 scores for Marvin King, who still seems to be producing pretty well this year. I don't think he'll progress much beyond an 81 overall, but that's okay. Thaddeus Lucina with 12 tackles. And we actually got a couple sacks. Marvin Frazier, Marshall Byrd. Wait, another new injury? Who is it now? This time Anton Greenberry. No, I missed that. Wow, Greenberry suffered a shoulder injury. I don't know how many games Greenberry has missed in his career. I don't think it's very many. He hardly ever misses time. You know what? Anton Greenberry has never missed a game. That's right. Anton Greenberry just suffered the first injury in his career that is going to keep him out for multiple games. What this does mean, however, is that Anton Greenberry did have an impressive Ironman streak of playing 244 straight games without missing one. And that is second to Brett Favre, who had 297. So, once again, Anton Greenberry finds himself in second place for something. Oh, this is interesting. Russell Wilson actually is currently 12th all-time right now in that stat with 96 consecutive starts. He's already 12th. That's the first injury ever for Anton Greenberry. Has the injury rating dropped for him? It's a 93, so must just be some bad luck here. And without Anton Greenberry, the Browns score 49 points. This is the very first game that has been played without Anton Greenberry in this series, minus anything in the preseason. And we did it with Lucas Enna. That's why I signed him. 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's a near perfect start. We get 100 yards from Perry Cummings at the same time. Henry Hunt enjoys a big day, 23.3 yards a catch. 2 more touchdowns for Rafael Carr, who seems to be having an even better second season in the league. It feels like Shadon Underwood's numbers, though, are finally starting to go down in a major way. No sacks and an interception for Ross Fanene. And I have the option now to rush back Anton Greenberry, but they haven't done a good job with the risk-reward system here in big injury decisions. The risk always outweighs the award, and maybe for quarterback, it's something you could actually consider, but I'm not going to be. So we're starting Lucas Enna. Greenberry, get rested up for the next game. Lucas Enna just did it again, everybody. 49 points and 5 more touchdowns. That's now 10 touchdowns and 1 pick since taking over for Anton Greenberry. That was a really big signing. That was a good move by me. And who enjoyed this one? Marvin King sure did. 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. Henry Hunt scores again. He seems to be getting a lot of big plays too, because his yards per reception is always through the roof, while Shadon Underwood is definitely taking a step back this year. We've reached the bye week too, so we're going to check on some stats. Oh, our only sack goes to a safety. Works for me. 6 games in, here are the numbers. Lucas Enna so far with 12 touchdowns to Greenberry's 9. Is there a quarterback controversy in Cleveland? On the ground, Perry Cummings having a bounce-back performance, it seems, this year in rushing yards. That is awesome at 556. In the air, Marvin King and Henry Hunt are leading the way. Shadon Underwood no longer showing that elite ability, it seems. Just 295 yards, and Henry Hunt has stolen the show. Rafael Carr, meanwhile, 204 and 4. I'm pretty happy with the offense right now. Defensively, 3 sacks for Marshall Byrd, and 1 interception for Fanene, and 1 for Forrest McLeod. Derek Haynes has kicked 1 field goal in 6 games, and 32 extra points. He's missed 2 of them, however. They were both blocked, so nothing accuracy related. I'm going to rotate around some of our focus players as well. I want to get everybody a chance to gain some points. Deshaun Blair, he's another player that we hope develops well. Santez Hartman actually has a pretty good amount of XP at this point. Anton Greenberry returns and leads the Browns to another dominant victory, putting us at 6-1 on the season. We did not have a big day in the passing game, it would appear, however. Perry Cummings, 3 touchdowns on the ground and 2 for Derek Gill. Interesting way to score our points, as the receiving game didn't really get a lot done. And defensively, I saw we're actually #1 ranked in defense. Pretty happy with that, especially seeing us get 3 sacks here for Peters, Byrd, and Essex. For interceptions, Mullins back there with 1. So who needs new deals this season? We have Marshall Boyd atop the list at right tackle. That one's going to be pretty important, and that deal seems really reasonable. Lucas Enna, Anton Greenberry, Danton Armstrong. Middle linebackers are pretty easy to keep around. And if we could get this done right now, I'd have interest in that. Armstrong doesn't want to sign quite yet. Quinn Evans, we might let him go, but getting safeties in this series has always been a challenge. Defensive tackles are always a tough situation because anybody over an 80 overall gets paid. Jared Yount, I don't know if he'll stay, but that's a pretty cheap price, so that is intriguing. And then the further down the list, we have a few more role players. I already know I want to keep Marshall Boyd, so let's try to limit some drama later on. Marshall Boyd will stay in Cleveland. I always make it a priority to keep a great offensive line together. The Browns seem pretty angry after missing the playoffs a year ago as we continue to get these 40-point outings. Now it's the Bengals who couldn't handle this offense. Anton Greenberry, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. It does seem like Lucas Enna was getting us a little bit more productive play. Perry Cummings, 176, 114 after contact, and a 70-yard run with 2 touchdowns. Well done. Henry Hunt once again shines. He could be our top receiver this year. That wouldn't shock me whatsoever. For sacks, I see there's Frazier with 2 and Hull with 1. 3 sack games are pretty good in this series. It's our 5th game in a row scoring more than 40 points. So I guess upgrading the offense this year, while maybe not necessary, is sure working. I know that. Anton Greenberry, 2 more touchdowns. 2 more also for Perry Cummings and Derek Gill. And in the air, there's Shadon Underwood, but Henry Hunt scores once again. He might have a chance to be Rookie of the Year, and that would definitely give him a chance to become Shadon Underwood caliber. DeJuan Hull, meanwhile, 2 interceptions. It was good to keep him around. Now, I know you're all going to be disappointed, but we only scored 35 points in this game. We still get the win, improving to 9-1 on the year. 4 touchdowns now from Anton Greenberry. Stop talking about replacing him. Perry Cummings, 106 yards. And once again, Shadon Underwood with 2 touchdowns. Henry Hunt, he scores. Whether or not he gets a lot of yards, it doesn't matter. He just finds the end zone every week, it seems. So does Marvin King in this matchup. Any sacks? Looks like no, and no interceptions. What to do with all these Anton Greenberry points? He's an 86 overall these days. I suppose maybe upgrade injury a little bit. Let's max it out. I don't want any more injuries. And that's about all we can do. Throw on the run, not really worth it. So far, Henry Hunt has gained nearly 5,000 experience. We'll upgrade his release, his catching, and awareness a couple times. He's still an 81, but he definitely seems like he's on his way to being a star. I'm really excited about young players like Roy Nelson, however, because they're so young. I feel like I haven't taken enough young 21, 22-year-olds to develop over the long term. So to have this opportunity, he doesn't need to play now or next year, but to still maybe upgrade him to a pretty good level is exciting. One player I shouldn't lose sight of is Aaron Ruland. I know I haven't talked about him a lot recently, but he has good development. I think it's quick, and he's only 23, so there's also a chance for him to ascend. The winning streak has been snapped. The Buffalo Bills win 39-28. We allow 3 touchdowns in the air. Greenberry throws 2 of his own. We did not do well at all in run defense. Those numbers are terrible. Underwood. Oh, that's the old Shadon Underwood we all know. 181 and 2. Let's keep negotiating here with Danton Armstrong. We got to try getting this deal done. The fair offer has definitely increased. Let's see if this is enough to seal the deal. $27 million in total. Danton Armstrong signs for 4 years. We can also activate Lawrence Glears from the injured reserve and let him return. And we're going to see that Derek Gill now could be out for the season. So a new backup running back required for Perry Cummings. Let's go with the same player we signed a year ago, Craig McCauley. Welcome back. We're a step closer to the playoffs by defeating the Baltimore Ravens 30-10. 1 touchdown here for Greenberry. We're not seeing him get those big games very often this year, while Lucas Enna had 2 in 2 starts. So you do have to wonder what could have happened this year if Enna kept playing, but it's not like I'm going to bench Anton Greenberry when he seems to be playing well and we're winning. By the way, the division is a little more competitive this year. The Steelers now have made a resurgence, and we're both 10-2. So our matchup here in a couple weeks may decide the division. With our first-year coach, Jeffrey Ben, I want to make sure we purchase this quarterback retirement influence package. I want to see how long we can get Anton Greenberry to stick around. Another injury to the Browns this year. Joseph Chung suffers a broken hand. So there is another call for our depth to step up with 4 games to go in the season. There's another victory for Cleveland. 28 points this time. Greenberry having a typical performance of this season. Kevin Fox didn't play much. He must have gotten hurt. Perry Cummings scores a touchdown. Craig McCauley gets a couple of his own. And we have Marvin King getting 8 catches. He's getting a lot of volume this year. Not many yards per reception, but he's getting a lot of catches. Rafael Carr scores. And Henry Hunt has a quieter day. That's what I'm talking about, though. 3 sacks from Marvin Frazier. When's our last 3-sack game? It's been a few years. I'm talking about 3 sacks for the same player in one game, that is. Now, we're going to take on the Steelers next. If we win, the division is ours by virtue of the tiebreaker. So let's see if the Browns can get it done. Cleveland was not able to get it done. 35-20. The Steelers now have the best chance to take home the division crown. Greenberry gets picked off twice, and our defense seemed to have one of their worst performances in a little while. We had Henry Hunt get 97 yards. Good day for Shadon Underwood. And defensively, probably not too much to see here for us. McLeod gets another interception, though. Unfortunately, looks like the wild card may have to be our route. Looking ahead to next year, I'd obviously want to keep Anton Greenberry. Will he sign this contract? Yes, he will. So he's signed for next year. We'll see if he indeed plays. Let's also try doing this deal for Jared Yount. It turns out it's a pretty cheap contract, and he will sign. Now Denton Armstrong gets injured with just 1 week to go in the regular season. His whole year could be finished now with a broken collarbone. It's been a tough season with all these injuries, but we get our 12th victory, pretty much ensuring we have a playoff spot, I'm sure, as we defeat the Chargers. Greenberry again not getting the big day. Also, our offense isn't spread anymore. I wonder if that plays a role in the offense not getting as many passing yards, but I guess we had so many 40-point outings and Lucas Enna did well, so maybe it is Anton Greenberry. Perry Cummings, 113 on the ground, 2 touchdowns for McCauley. And defensively, any more interceptions? Camden Wake, Ross Fanene, and a sack for Bird and Essex. Well, we have no game in Wildcard Weekend, so we definitely got that first round bye, as we did win the division after all with a 13-3 record. The Steelers lost their last 2 games, and that helps us out. We may have even gotten the number 1 seed in that case. So let's check out Week 17, 37-31. As the offense gets nearly 600 yards. That's pretty good. There's Anton Greenberry. He closes strong. 444 and 4 touchdowns. Perry Cummings, 5.2 a carry. Rafael Carr scores twice. Marvin King, $180. Can't wait to see those final season stats for everybody. And Lawrence Glears gets 14 tackles too. A fair amount of sacks in this matchup and a nice interception for Glears. The playoffs begin with us facing the LA Chargers, and I plan on that being the next episode we go through in this series. It's been a little while since we sat in on a game, so I'm looking forward to it. But let's wrap this up by taking a look at what the Browns were able to achieve this season. We bounced back, putting together one of the best records in the NFL, the Dolphins actually get the #1 seed, so that could impact us playing 2 home games instead of 1. We still have a couple injuries on the team, and Danton Armstrong's season is indeed over. 5 weeks is, I think, a week or 2 past the Super Bowl, so we're not going to have him. Joseph Chung could return in the Super Bowl if we get there. Overall, we had the #4 offense and the #1 defense. Good year overall. 28 touchdowns and 11 interceptions for Anton Greenberry. Definitely not one of his strongest. He still climbed the charts, though, in all-time touchdowns. We will definitely see that before this episode is over. But this was his lowest touchdown output in the last 4 years. And we didn't really see him put up the numbers that Lucas Enna was able to do. Perry Cummings, 1,547 rushing yards and 14 touchdowns. We'll definitely see the career numbers for him as well in relation to what he's done so far in his career. Here's the fun one, receiving. Underwood still got the lead in touchdowns and yards. I guess Henry Hunt didn't score every week like I thought he did. Carr scores 7 times, so does Marvin King. It was pretty well spread out. But Shadon Underwood again wins. But notice that Hunt played far less snaps than everybody. I should have made him wide receiver 2, and I will for the postseason. On defense, Danton Armstrong, 138 tackles. For sacks, our leader was Marshall Byrd with 6.5. In interceptions, 3 for Ross Fanene. And our kicker, Derek Haynes, only kicked 10 field goals this year and missed 2 of them. Oh wow, they are so close in career numbers. Anton Greenberry has 1 more career touchdown than Lucas Enna at this point. On the ground, Perry Cummings close to 10,000 career rushing yards, only 7 fumbles by the way, and 1,800 plus carries. Shadon Underwood, could he get to 1,000 catches in his career? I'd say 3 more years would do it. He has 94 receiving touchdowns. Lawrence Clears now has 34 career INTs. That's got to be pretty high on the all-time chart, especially for active players. So for passing yards all time, Anton Greenberry finds himself in 7th place. And to get #1, it would still take quite a few years of him playing. But he could get there if he sticks around. For passing touchdowns, he is 5th behind Peyton Manning. Now, he has a chance to get to #1 potentially if he plays 1 more year, 2 more years. It's very possible. For rushing yards all time, we're not going to see Perry Cummings get into this list quite yet, but there are many players that have, and Ezekiel Elliott is your new leader. We're no longer chasing Emmitt Smith's record. It's the new Dallas Cowboy who got it done. Elliott also tied Smith in touchdowns. I think Elliott is still playing, so he'll likely take over that lead. Alvin Kamara is very high on the list, by the way. Let's check on some league leaders this time. Kelvin Murphy, 5,100 yards in just his 2nd year. I think the Cowboys found a good replacement for Kevin Fox. He also led the NFL, he was 2nd in touchdown passes, as Hudson Spitz was #1. Devontae Cook takes the rushing title from Perry Cummings by only 3 yards. Perry did have a better average. In receptions, we had quite a few actually with 100 plus. Not many players that I actually recognize. And for sacks, 11.5 is the top. It would seem that it's just really hard to get sacks in today's NFL. I think 5 is the new 10. And for active leaders, Anton Greenberry, #1 in yards. For touchdowns, he is also #1. We'll see if Deshaun Watson gets more years under his belt. For rushing, Marquise Jimmo actually is in 1st place. Then Devontae Cook, Brian Burris. Still some work to do here for Perry Cummings, but he's far younger than those players at 28. Javier McDonald has the most catches active with 919. Julian Wall has 858. I'd love to see him come back at some point. Underwood is up there as well. Lawrence Clears is 3rd active in tackles. For sacks, it is Nordley Binns. And interceptions, Herschel Chisholm, a linebacker. I thought Glears might be up there, and he's pretty close. So that's it for this regular season, everybody, the 16th of this series. Next time we're going through the postseason, and hopefully this year it's not a one and done. It could be Anton Greenberry's final year. I'm not really sure when he might retire. I've been talking about this now for a couple seasons, but we'll see if he can go out a champion if he does decide to end it after this year. Thank you all for watching. Please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications when new videos are posted. I will see you all again soon. Have a great day.